So I will begin this conversation by asking you to reflect on two simple questions about advanced placement courses. The first one, as you would see it here, asks you, what does it take for a student to score 2 out of 5 on an AP exam? And the second one is asking, what does it mean for a student to score 2 out of 5 on an AP exam? There's a distinction here. One is what it takes, and the other is what it means. So, and you may wonder, why is this a topic of interest for me? I will tell you. I was 17 years old when I moved here from Haiti to the United States. The day after I arrived, I would begin high school. And within a span of 1 week, I would begin to question, why is it that when I look around, there would only be Haitian students sitting around my lunch table? The Spanish students would be on one side, the English speakers would be on the other side, and us, the Haitians, would be on a separate small corner by ourselves. And this would go on for weeks and weeks to go. I began to gain some perspective of what was happening as I watched the news and reflected on the treatment of Haitians seeking political asylum in the US while being washed away on the shores of Miami Beach. Mind you, the survivors of these shipwrecks would not be allowed to shore. That's ironic. In any case, as if this was not sad enough, the media and the scientific community would hit us 10 times harder. This is when they would declare that we, the Haitians, were the carriers of the HIV virus to the United States of America. And sure enough, this will show in the textbooks, in the classrooms, and in our classrooms where I was sitting with my students. And that kind of explained a lot of what was going on. So what does a teacher do in this situation? What does a science teacher do, a biology teacher or a math teacher? What do you do in this situation? Do you teach the content as it is written, or do you push your students to do research? Will you teach them how to conduct proper research, but more importantly, will you teach them the ethics of proper research? So what would that look like? And who would be selected for these courses? Would it be based on actual grade point average, or would it be based on interest in the course? So those are all questions that needed to be asked. In any event, I would graduate high school that same year, and I would start engineering school with 7 of my friends. By the end of freshman year, I contemplated dropping out of college. And the reason is, every single one of my 7 friends had dropped out completely. So we had the good grades out of high school, but we did not have the foundations for college. These days, I teach in a high school very similar to the one that I attended. And graduation is a big deal, and we graduate about 80% of our students. But I will share with you 2 excerpts from 2 different research, which when you look at the 2 of them together tells you high school graduation remains a cause for concern for a large segment of New York City student population. Let's take a look here. The first research compared AP students who score in the 2s and low 3s with those with higher exam scores. And what they found is that there is no significant differences in their chances of graduating college within 4 years. Absolutely none. I mean, very little. The second research, nonetheless, examined AP awareness amongst New York City students. And what they determined is that there are nearly 40,000 scholars in New York City who may have never heard about AP courses being offered at their schools. That's concerning. Now, you may agree or disagree with the finding in these excerpts, but you can certainly appreciate a scenario in which students from grades 6 to 12 are using the AP vocabulary and skills that will prepare them to perform in high school or in AP courses when they start to take them. So the question is, what would that look like? Right? How do you do that? Well, you are teachers at your school and you are MFA teachers. Suppose, for instance, you decided that you would have and you would schedule inter-visitations at your school. And so you schedule it. And today you are going to visit 9th grade math class. Imagine that's the case. So you would arrive and class is in session. And what you are observing is on this side, students are doing a gallery walk, and on that side, the students are presenting on the fundamental theorem of calculus. So these are the two scenarios. And the presenters would then turn to the audience for a Q&A session. And once that's happened, they will turn to this side to gain new perspectives on the presentations that they've just heard. This is a 9th grade class we're talking about here. And the question is, can this actually happen in schools in New York City? I will tell you that there are a few knuckleheads in my school, and some of them right here in this room, who believe that this is within the realm of possibilities. And what they believe is that you can begin to get students to think and reason through calculus before they could actually reach grade 9. This is possible. So it becomes, therefore, what is the strategy for doing that? So let's take a look at this action plan here. As you read through it, I want you to think that their goal is essentially to align grades 6 to 12 curriculum with AP vocabulary and skills. And they plan to do that one unit at a time. So let's take a look of what you would have happen in this setting with your peers and your partner and your friends. So the first idea is to look at the assessment data and essentially the learning and instructional gaps. And if you then begin to identify the AP vocabulary and skills that align with those gaps, and then from there you design AP aligned unit plans, and certainly you focus on the rigor of these units so that they really push students to become AP students and think along those lines. So that's an idea right there. A few years ago, actually about 10 years ago, I read a quote from Henry Drummond, okay? And I have since used it as my email signature because as I think of it, it forces me to think about choices that I have to make in my own personal and individual lives. And in it, it says, unless a man undertakes more than he can possibly do, he will never accomplish all that he can. So I will leave you with these quotes as you think about your own planning for curriculum alignment with your teams, and to know that if you think about this and if you believe they can accomplish it, you will put them on a course for success in life. Thank you very much.